Hello and welcome to the special edition of Business Africa. We're celebrating 5 years of telling the continent stories here on Africanews. I'm your host, Africanews. Let's do business. Coming up, this week we find out how COVID-19 is forcing insurers on the continent to be more inclusive. We also find out why Nigerian billionaire Tony Elumelu is passionate about the youth and startups in Africa. Can big business breathe a sign of relief in post-Magufuli Tanzania? The answer's coming up shortly. Insurance penetration on the continent is extremely low compared to global averages. While the COVID-19 pandemic was a nightmare for many businesses and insurers, in Cameroon, a tech-savvy entrepreneur is not eating this crisis. We bring you the story of how Richard Lewe of Activa Assurance is making insurance more inclusive using digital tools.
The COVID-19 situation poses a wide-ranging series of challenges for insurers to maintain their operations, as normal ways of working become severely disrupted. COVID-19 containment and mitigation measures in sub-Saharan Africa have restricted the movement of people, goods and services over the past year. This has affected insurers' operations, which, to a large extent, have traditionally required physical engagement. It is also affecting insurers' ability to launch new products, conclude new sales, collect premiums, service existing customers and process pay claims. The pandemic has forced the industry to reassess the risks it faces, adopt new ways of operating and accelerate its shift to digitalization, which includes a mass shift to remote working. Activa, an insurance company based in Cameroon, says it has adopted a non-contact sales through the use of digitalization. Whilst the pandemic has exacerbated pre-existing weaknesses of the insurance sector in sub-Saharan Africa, it also provides an opportunity for insurers and regulators to become better equipped and to embrace and adopt innovation in order to develop the insurance markets. According to Richard Lewe, the founder of Activa Insurance, Africa, a continent with a market of 1 billion people, need to broaden its scope for the compulsory insurance to develop an inclusive insurance.
Richard Lewe is a Cameroonian businessman and founder of Activa Assurance, a Pan-African insurance company with branches in Europe. He joins us now for more on that story. Welcome to the show. Now, as one who has grown your insurance business from Cameroon to having a presence in several African countries, what strategies do you think should be employed to increase insurance penetration on the continent?
Our strategy is really to develop inclusive insurance, but for that we need the support of the public, authorities and the regulators on 2 or 3 points. The first point, for example, is to broaden the scope of compulsory insurance, given that most African countries have only 2 or 3 compulsory insurance, and that includes motor, transport, certain civil and professional liability. The second thing that we expect from the public authorities is on the aspect of taxation. There should be sectors of activity in our insurance business that can benefit from tax assistance, like for instance, provinces such as health or agricultural insurance should be tax exempted, since tax exemption will enable insurance to have premium levels that are likely to attract the most people. The third aspect on which we would really like to have the support of the regulators is to accompany us in our desire to develop distribution channels, because today it is very difficult to reach customers in rural areas. We can multiply the number of agencies or large ones or farms or brokerage firms, but we won't reach them. But, on the other hand, if the regulators facilitate the scale of insurance through mobile phones, through marketers, through certain department stores, then you will see that this is a marriage that will allow for a greater penetration rate.
Now, COVID-19 is projected to slow down the growth of insurance on the continent. How is your company coping against the pandemic, and what should other insurance players do to reduce the negative impact of COVID-19?
The first priority for us was the protection of staff. The protection of staff was the top priority. We put in place all the measures to protect them. We introduced teleworking. We really did everything we could on the health front to protect the staff as much as possible. The second action we took was to develop commercial actions towards our customers, because customers are our raw material. So we have to continue to do our work from COVID by respecting the barrier measures, but also by keeping this permanent contact with the customers. Doing non-contact sales is something that COVID has taught us to develop, and also organizing meetings with the customers when we can no longer do it face-to-face. The third thing we have from this COVID-19, it has taught us to look for opportunities, because the situation of COVID-19 also has particularly helped us improve in our innovative sectors. In any case, this is a claim that we have at the level of Activa Group. And this is a claim that we have done and tried in going against many obstacles and also drawing opportunities to us. So at our group, we have set up a think tank group to look for opportunities in terms of products, because this COVID-19 thing has enabled us to see, for example, that perhaps the coverage, the pandemic coverage, which was previously excluded from the contracts, is a real problem. We need to think about the possibility of extending our insurance cover to this pandemic as well.
La
digitalisation du secteur de l'assurance est une tendance imposée par la pandémie. Votre compagnie a-t-elle adopté cette stratégie et quelles clés aimeriez-vous partager aux autres acteurs sur l'utilisation de la technologie dans l'assurance?
But obviously, you can't claim to want to reach out a lot of individual prospects without digitalization accompanying you in terms of creating online agencies, and also in terms of creating a mobile application, and also putting in mind in terms of many other digital applications that we have developed in-house, and that we will continue to develop in the coming future. And this also requires the regulators to support us. For example, from now on, the regulators must accept that the car certificate is no longer necessary done on paper, but that it is also possible to do it in digital form. It is this transformation that will drive development of African insurance in our group. We are really very optimistic, and I mean very optimistic, because Africa is going to drive world growth over the next 20 years. All economic analysts are absolutely unanimous on this. Now it is up to us to take advantage on this trend.
Well, thank you very much for joining us on the show.
Thank you very much. Thank you, and bravo for your show that I often watch.
Africa is the youngest continent, and experts have predicted that the youth bulge on the continent is a double-edged sword. Tony Elumelu, a Nigerian billionaire, is determined to harness the positive potential of the youth by investing in their startups. The numbers: an investment of $100 million, a target of 1 million jobs, and $10 billion annual revenue. Let's get inspired.
Young African female entrepreneurs are set to benefit from the increased investment by the Tony Elumelu Entrepreneurship Program. Working with the European Union, the program seeks to empower more women who have been adversely affected more than their male counterparts during the COVID-19 pandemic. Having launched the continent's most ambitious private sector-led entrepreneurship drive in 2015, the foundation is committed to providing seed capital to tens of thousands of young entrepreneurs across the 54 African nations. With over 9,000 beneficiaries to date, the program boasts of having provided the funding and training the startups needed to grow and impact the lives of entrepreneurs and their communities. Up to 60% of the beneficiaries this year will be women. and all the entrepreneurs under the program received mental health training during the pandemic in a bid to boost resilience amidst the losses and challenges posed by the coronavirus restrictions.
The CEO of Tony Elumelu Foundation, Ifeanyiwa Ugochukwu, joins us from Lagos for more on that report. What are the benefits of the foundation to the young entrepreneurs?
We know that the seed capital funding we give them is probably their only opportunity to have that first seed capital you need to get your business off the ground, because we deal at the bottom of the pyramid. And at the bottom of the pyramid, it's too risky for the traditional financial institutions or the venture capitalists. Unfortunately, Africa is a continent where not many people have family or friends they can borrow the $5,000 they need to start their business. And so we are playing at a very important place that most people do not play. And this is what allows entrepreneurs to translate their ideas, their very brilliant ideas, into reality, to prove their concept and to start the entrepreneurial journey. And what we do is we de-risk entrepreneurs, and as they climb the pyramid, then they become more attractive to the more traditional institutions.
I'm curious to know, how have you been able to continue to support the youth amid the COVID-19 crisis?
Well, it's like we had a looking glass and we're able to see into the future. Because from when the Tony Elumelu Foundation Entrepreneurship Program started in 2015, it was completely digital. It was a completely 100% online program. Now, in 2020, when the pandemic hit and most of Africa was in lockdown, we did pause our program because we realized that quite a number of the entrepreneurs that we work with have to go to business centers or schools or offices to have access to internet. Unfortunately, they don't have internet at home. And so what we did was to ensure that we stayed connected to them by offering them master classes. So things that they could have on their phone, on their handheld devices that wasn't so intense. So we ensured we kept in contact with them through master classes. We partnered with professors from Yale University, offering master classes in mental health at a time when it was really important to dig deep and hold on to resilience, tenacity. Because the one thing that an entrepreneur must have is that ability to never give up, is that ability to, even in the midst of challenges, to always see opportunities. And that is how we kept our entrepreneurs going.
Well, thank you very much for joining us on the show. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having us.
Now, Tanzania's new president, Samia Suluhu Hassan, has a unique opportunity to write the next chapter on her country's business book. She can follow John Magufuli's tough stance on foreign business or start a new path and embrace power and potential of big business. To understand what Suluhu's presidency means for Tanzania's business community, we'll take a look at her business decisions over the 1 month she's been in charge.
President John Magufuli was commonly known as the bulldozer, and perhaps for his ruthlessness in pursuit of his vision for Tanzania. The business and international community was at the receiving end of this bulldozing as he reviewed mining contracts, took over control of Airtel, managed iron ore exports, and restructured the cashew nut industry. Foreign direct investment fell by 43% in the year after Magufuli entered office in October 2015, but Tanzanian GDP continued to grow at an average of around 6% a year. However, in 2020, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, economic activity has slowed from 7% GDP growth in 2019 to 1.9% in 2020. Interestingly, economic growth is expected to recover to 3.6% in 2021 and 6.1% in 2022, subject to a recovery in the tourism sector and the post-pandemic global economic recovery. Following Magufuli's death, Tanzania's international investors are hoping for a different paradigm, for a more pro-business administration with the new president Suluhu Hassan. So far, Suluhu has appointed her own finance minister, sacked the revenue boss who often clashed with investors over tax matters, and signed an oil agreement with Uganda and France's Total Oil.
For 5 years, we've been reporting your business stories, broken down money matters across the globe, and this is our commitment to you. Whatever happens in Africa's business fair over the next 5 years, we'll be there to document and share these stories with you. For now, let's keep this conversation on insurance, Elumelu's dream, and a new Tanzania going. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.